Before diving into this incredible story, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell. Every story here has something to say, and you won't want to miss a single one. It was a gray Thursday in Brooklyn. The sky seemed to weep gently, pouring a fine, cold rain that wet the worn cobblestone streets. The drops fell relentlessly, sliding down the fogged windows of the buildings and trickling down the rickety gutters. In the working-class neighborhood of Bedford-Stuyvesant, where life swam between small businesses and shabby buildings, two thin, soaked figures stood in front of the window of a small bakery. The twins, Eli and Noah Thompson, were barely 10 years old. Their jackets, too light for the season, let through the bite of the damp wind. Their eyes shone with a melancholy mixed with hope. In their trembling hands, a 50-cent piece, crumpled, worn, the last vestige of a meager amount of money earned here and there. It was far too little for a baguette, but enough, they thought, to require a little trust. They pushed open the door to the shop, a small chime announcing their presence. The warm, sweet air of the bakery immediately enveloped them, contrasting sharply with the cold bite outside. The wooden floorboards creaked softly under their hesitant steps, and they tentatively approached the counter where Mrs. Jenkins, a woman in her 50s with a tired but gentle face, was carefully arranging golden, crusty loaves of bread. "Madam, can we pay you later?" Eli asked, his voice trembling but full of courage. "We just want a loaf of bread, for tonight. Our mother comes home late. She's very tired." Noah, clutching the coin in his hand, looked down, hoping his words would be enough to open a door. Mrs. Jenkins took a long look at the two children. Her heart sank at the sight of their dirty faces and worn clothes. She had already reached out to other families in the neighborhood, but her small business survived on every penny counted. She opened her mouth, ready to answer, when a deep, calm voice sounded behind the children. "Give them what they want, and add some buns." Everyone turned around in surprise. A tall, elegant man wearing a dark hat stood there. His neatly trimmed beard framed an impassive face, his gray eyes observing the scene with a strange intensity. He wore a long black wool coat that seemed to absorb the gray light of the day. It was William Carter, the famous businessman, owner of luxury hotels and entire buildings in Manhattan. A financial legend, as feared as he was respected, known for his coldness and lack of apparent emotion. Noah, more suspicious, frowned and dared to ask the question that burned in his heart. "Why are you doing this, sir?" A silence fell. William stared at them for a moment, his hand resting on the counter, his gaze almost lost in a distant past. Then, in a softer voice, imbued with a rare sincerity, "Because I've been in your shoes." The weight of those words suspended time. No one in the shop said a word. The twins, misty-eyed, took the bag of bread Mrs. Jenkins offered them. Their voices broke as they murmured a thank you, and they slowly walked back out into the pouring rain, their light steps betraying a dawning hope. But for William Carter, this meeting was only the beginning of a much deeper story. That night, in his apartment on the 42nd floor of Carter Tower, William Carter couldn't sleep. The silence of the night seemed to weigh heavier than ever, as if the city itself were holding its breath. He tossed and turned in his vast bed, his thoughts obsessed with the image of the two soaking wet little boys outside the bakery. Eli and Noah, the twins' faces haunted him. He saw their gaze again, so innocent, tinged with a disarming resilience. This image awakened memories he had conscientiously buried, wounds he refused to heal. He saw himself again, at 10 years old, in a cold, dark Chicago orphanage, his stomach empty, his clothes dirty, and the constant fear of the coming night. His twin brother, Michael, always by his side, sharing the same fragile dreams. Until that icy night when Michael succumbed to the cold, alone, abandoned, with nowhere else to go. William never spoke of it. This pain had become his strength, the driving force behind his rise. His empire, built stone by stone, was based on suffering, ambition, and above all, an absolute refusal to show the slightest weakness. He had learned to shut himself off from the world, to rely only on himself. But that evening, looking at the twins, he saw something else. An echo of what he had been. A chance to make amends, to do things differently. At dawn, still affected by that sleepless night, he called his personal assistant, Karen Mills. A woman in her 40s, efficient and loyal, accustomed to responding to all his demands, even the strangest. Karen, I want you to find the Thompson twins family. I need to meet them. Karen frowned in surprise. William wasn't the type to take an interest in strangers, especially not children in trouble. Are you sure, Mr. Carter? She asked hesitantly. I mean, that's unusual coming from you. William just gave a serious, determined look. Just do it. No questions asked. The next day, after a few hours of searching, Karen found the Thompsons' address. A small apartment on the 5th floor of an old Brooklyn building, with no elevator. Rosa Thompson, the twins' mother, was 32 years old. A cleaner at a public hospital, she worked mostly nights. Her days consisted of a few hours of sleep stolen here and there, between 2 exhausting shifts. She fought every day to give her children a future. Their father had passed away before they were even born, leaving Rosa alone to face the storm. When Karen arrived at Rosa's house to hand her an invitation to meet William Carter in her office, Rosa was at first suspicious, almost incredulous. She thought at first it was a mistake, perhaps a scam, a bad joke. Why would such a powerful man want to meet her, a simple, tired woman? But the invitation was real, written on official Carter Enterprises letterhead. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a joke. William Carter's office sat atop Carter Tower, overlooking the vast city of Manhattan. Large windows let in the gray morning light, offering a breathtaking view. Gleaming skyscrapers, streets teeming with life, the Hudson River winding in the distance, and the endless ballet of cars and people. Every detail seemed tiny from above, yet every life told a story. Rosa Thompson stepped through the automatic door, her hands trembling with a mixture of apprehension and wonder. The cold marble beneath her feet, the designer furniture, the abstract paintings decorating the walls. It all seemed unreal, almost like a distant dream. She had never set foot in such a luxurious place, a blatant symbol of a world she had never thought she belonged to. William Carter greeted her with genuine gravity. His gaze, usually so hard and distant, seemed more human this morning, almost vulnerable. He sat down behind his large, polished mahogany desk, smooth as a mirror, and looked her straight in the eyes. "I'll be frank, Mrs. Thompson," he said, his deep voice echoing in the silent room. "I saw your sons, Eli and Noah. They reminded me of who I was, of what I've been through." Rosa, surprised, looked at him with a frown, searching his words for some hidden reason, some ulterior motive. "Why?" she asked, her voice trembling. William took a deep breath, the weight of the past suddenly weighing on his shoulders. "Because I let my brother die in the street. Michael, my own twin brother." An icy silence fell. Rosa felt her heart sink, realizing that this wasn't just a phrase thrown out to elicit sympathy. "I can't bear the thought that other children, other twins, are going through the same horror, the same loneliness." The first tears rolled down Rosa's cheeks, uncontrollable. It wasn't pity she was receiving, but a genuine helping hand, a promise of renewal. William continued, in a softer voice, "I want to help you. I want to give you and your sons a chance I never had." He offered her a stable position in the cleaning department of one of his most prestigious hotels. A decent job, with a steady salary, respectable hours, and security she had never known. Then he mentioned a place to live, an apartment in a recently renovated building, bright and spacious, where she could live with her boys without fear of leaks, mold, or insurmountable stairs. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, a full scholarship for Eli and Noah's education, from kindergarten through university, to open the doors to a future she had never dared to imagine. "It's not charity, Mrs. Thompson," William concluded, gently squeezing her hand. "It's an investment in people who deserve better, who can become more." In this luxurious room, in the heart of the city that never sleeps, a silent pact had just been sealed, that of a second chance, of a new beginning. The following year, the Thompson twins' lives had changed radically. They had integrated Columbia Prep, a private school renowned for its academic excellence, located in the heart of Manhattan. The environment there was demanding, yet stimulating, quite different from the familiar streets of Bedford-Stuyvesant. Eli, always curious and quick-witted, quickly discovered a passion for mathematics. The numbers, the complex problems, the abstract equations, they all awakened an inner fire within him, a sense of accomplishment and power he had never known before. His teachers quickly noticed his talent and dedication, but also his modesty. Despite his successes, Eli remained humble, aware that the opportunity he had been given was not a right, but a precious gift. Noah, meanwhile, found refuge in music. The guitar, then the piano, became his companions. Music calmed his fears, soothed his nights, and gave him a voice where words sometimes seemed lacking. He participated in school concerts, composed his first melodies, and his sensitivity touched those who listened to him. Like his brother, he grew up with gratitude, never forgetting where he came from. Meanwhile, Rosa had embraced her new position in the hotel's cleaning department with exemplary seriousness. Her work ethic, kindness, and attention to detail quickly made her a respected figure within the team. She inspired her colleagues, proving every day that dignity didn't wait for wealth to assert itself. Little by little, Rosa was no longer just an employee. She became a pillar, a precious voice, a quiet strength. William Carter, on the other hand, was no longer the cold and distant billionaire many feared. He sometimes came to the small apartment Rosa occupied with her sons. They shared simple but warm meals around a modest table. He laughed at the children's stories, marveled at their progress, and became human again. This interchange was slow, discreet, but profound. William's heart gradually opened to the light that these children and this woman had ignited. Then came the day when everything changed publicly. Invited to give a speech at a ceremony at Columbia University, on the occasion of a major donation from him, William chose to tell this intimate and powerful story. "There is no greater investment than in a human life," he declared, his voice thick with emotion. "That day, I heard 2 children ask for a loan for bread in a small bakery in Brooklyn. They were the ones who fed me. They reminded me that behind every number, every investment, there is a life, a story, a hope." In the auditorium, a respectful silence greeted his words. Then came a heartfelt, vibrant applause that seemed to celebrate not only the twins, but the rebirth of a man and of an entire community. 10 years had passed since that first, life-changing encounter in the small bakery in Bedford-Stuyvesant. 10 years of hard work, sacrifice, progress, and unconditional love. Eli Carter Thompson was no longer the boy with the thin jackets and the shy gaze. At 20, he had just graduated from one of the country's top universities as an artificial intelligence engineer. His passion for mathematics had evolved into a quest for innovation, determined to create technologies capable of improving the lives of the most vulnerable. He dreamed of algorithms serving social justice, of intelligence capable of detecting and responding to inequalities. Noah Carter Thompson, for his part, had followed his musical path to the grand stages of Broadway. A renowned composer, his works blended the melancholy of the streets he knew with the bright glare of the spotlight. His music told stories of struggle, resilience, and hope, touching the hearts of thousands of spectators. But despite their success and meteoric rise, they never forgot their starting point: the rain in Brooklyn, the warmth of a kindly offered loaf of bread, and above all the love and struggle of their mother, Rosa. This same Rosa, who had braved a long illness, a relentless cancer. In her final moments, she made a solemn request to William Carter. "Protect my sons, William. Keep them like your own children. They deserve a family, a stable home, forever." Deeply moved, William accepted without hesitation. Shortly after, he began the legal process to adopt Eli and Noah, definitively sealing a bond that went far beyond blood, that of a family built by the heart. William's life changed again. His empire, once a cold symbol of power and wealth, took on a new face, imbued with humanity and commitment. He founded the Carter Foundation for Street Children, an organization dedicated to funding schools, shelters, and support programs for disadvantaged children across the country. He wanted no child to ever again be left alone, hungry, and without hope like his brother Michael had been. He wanted every child to be able to dream, grow, and flourish, regardless of their background. William had lost a brother he had been unable to save, but he had gained 2 sons he could now protect and love fully. And in this new balance, the story of pain had transformed into a story of rebirth, hope, and infinite love.